first step to making a successful film is coming up with an idea. All your idea needs to be is a simple storyline. And this storyline may only consist of a couple sentences, but whoever you pitch your idea to must be excited to see the final film. Your initial storyline may be different than your final product, however it acts as a stepping stone so you could jump right into writing your script. Depending on the writer and how long they're given, the script can take anywhere from a couple weeks to a couple months. Generally, on a screenwriter's contract, they're allowed a 12-week writing period for their first draft, and after that they receive a couple extra weeks for rewrites and polishes. Here are some tips for writing a screenplay. Tip number 1. Make sure there are no spelling or grammar errors. This is because when you turn it into their company, you want to make sure it is as professional as possible so that they take you seriously. The second tip is, unless you're planning to direct a movie, don't write in camera angles or music. That is the director's job. And the last tip is writing in the right format. There are many screenwriting softwares out there, so if you plan on writing a script for a movie, I recommend getting one. After the screenplay is done, you'll need to budget your money. A great way to do this is by calling a financial advisor. I recommend hiring somebody who's worked in the movie business before. This is because you want them to give you tips on how to budget your money correctly depending on what kind of script you have. So have them come over and look through your script together. This is where you figure out your best money strategy. They will talk to you about how to acquire the money, and if this project is worth following through with. If for some reason you are unable to get the money, you either have to choose a new project or find a way to cut your costs. Keep in mind, this is one of the toughest parts of making a movie. However, without this, the movie is not possible. During this meeting, you also have to make sure you know how you're going to advertise in the end. Nowadays, the average Hollywood movie costs about $200 million to make. This is why your meeting with the financial advisor is very important. Once you work out your budget, you have to make a ton of lists and schedules. For each scene, you have to make a list which includes where it will be shot, which characters are needed, what costumes are needed, what props, there's too many things, so we're gonna move on. Next, we're going to get a crew of experienced producers who are going to help you get organized. What they are going to do is they're going to look through your lists and look through your schedule of production and your script and change it a little bit so it fits your budget better. As long as they know what they're doing, they're going to be a real help throughout your whole filming process. They're going to help you hire the right people and stay organized throughout production. For finding locations, you can either hire a location scout or look by yourself. It is very important to remember to have a second and third location as fallback options. A lot can go wrong with your locations, so be prepared to spend a lot of time searching. When you start getting closer to production time, you have to begin building an audience. A great way to do this is by making a website for your upcoming film. You would also want to keep the press involved as much as possible. This is because the more popular you get and the more people hear about you, that's when you start receiving calls from agents of famous actors. Auditions are not the most enjoyable part of the filming experience. They are embarrassing at times and always nerve-wracking. Sometimes there are over 3,000 people auditioning for one single role in a popular movie. Next to the camera is the casting director, and they would tell you what to do. Usually they're going to ask you to slate, which means state your full name clearly. Depending on the role, you're going to have to do a couple different things. But no matter what you're trying out for, you're still going to need to read some lines. Also in the room are different types of directors. Depending on what you're trying out for, these directors will vary. As you can see, after hundreds of people trying out, they get a little bored. Next, you're going to need to work out your food situation. Food is extremely important on a set because your cast and crew need to eat. So call up a caterer and make sure they have great food that they're going to bring every day to your set. Next, have a meeting with your camera department. During this meeting, you're going to share with them your entire schedule so they know what equipment to bring on which days. You also have to check with them to make sure that they have the right camera equipment, and also any other specific equipment that you need. And if you don't have all of this, you have to make sure you purchase it before the day of the shoot. Next, you're going to need to have a big meeting with all your department heads. This meeting is basically to clarify any problems and answer everybody's questions. No matter how great a job you did, you're going to be amazed by how many questions come flying your way. This is why you're going to need to take a deep breath and relax, unlike this guy. Action! Hello, I'm one of the stuntmen here at Weisel Productions, and right now we're in the stunt studio of the set. So what I do is I pull the stuntmen onto these mats, and right now during practice we're using this rope, but during the actual filming we use this thin wire. After filming is completely done, the director will call "It's a wrap." WRAP stands for Wind, Reel, and Print. It is customary for the director to have a wrap party and invite all the cast and crew. And of course you'll have your stuck-up actor coming fashionably late. Then it's time for editing. You're going to have a big team of workers helping you edit your film. As long as this team is productive, you can finish editing in a couple months. Throughout your entire editing process, you should have a couple different screenings with random people you don't know. The reason you don't use family or friends is because they won't give you their honest opinion. I strongly advise taking a week off during editing. This means don't look at your project for an entire week, and when you come back, then make your changes. Get some rest, relax, and just enjoy life.